Okay, here we go. Come on. YouTube is taking a really long time. I think I just think that my computer needs some serious help. But I don't have the time to sit around and wait for someone to fix it. It's just been running really slowly.
This YouTube live that we see now, is this the new one?
No.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Okay. All right. It is going. All right. Can you see it, Tim?
Yes, I can. Yep, I just saw you posted as well in Webtalk.
Okay.
Spotlight post, and I'm about to do myself right now. Okay. Done. So let me check. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right then. All right, so we are live. a different live tonight than last night. This is NV Cares. This is talking about COVID-19 tests. And I know that we've talked about COVID testing and stuff a little bit, but tonight we're going to talk about new tests that are being shown to the world that are going to help, kind of change how testing is done, the speed, and hopefully the idea is to open up countries, open up the world, and get people tested much faster and more efficiently. So the tests that are available, we do have the antibody tests, we do have the PCR test, but the real tests that we're talking about are the antigen swab tests. They're 20-minute rapid tests. You don't have to wait 7 to 10 days. You don't have to wait 20 days. You don't have to wait 2 weeks. You don't have to quarantine for 14 days. The results take 20 minutes. So you can go into the doctor's office or go into a country, take the test, and that's it. 20 minutes later, you know exactly what's going on. They are available for shipment. They can be shipped around the world. The shipping and handling is included in the price. The company that we're part of, which is Envy Solutions and Sequoia. Sequoia is kind of part of Innova, which is an investment group that has invested in manufacturers and is investing in more manufacturers as we speak. They're having more and more manufacturers because the demand for these kits is rising, and it's rising very quickly. Going into the fall, it is starting to look like people are looking more and more for these tests because they can be used and have such a fast response that people are starting to understand very quickly that these are very necessary for the world. So those tests are available. You can write in the comments, you can message, whatever you need to do to talk and get more information. All tests are FDA approved. When you purchase, the pricing is based upon like bulk, how much and how many kits you actually purchase, how many tests. Like I said, shipping is included, so that's a huge thing. So you can order from the company and they will ship directly to wherever it needs to go. In the States, you need to have an MPI number to be able to order the kits. Overseas, you do not have to have an MPI number, but it is very highly recommended that you have someone who is a medical expert giving the tests so that the tests are given correctly. You can't just, hand it to someone and hope they do it correctly. It's still a necessary thing for someone to administer the test, but anybody that is looking to purchase or distributes, people who are distributing PPE stuff, obviously you're talking to hospitals and things like that. You may want to tell them that you have a better solution for what they're using right now, because everybody's using the PCR tests or the antibody test. Now, our antibody tests are 20-minute tests as well, but the PCR tests are, they say 2 to 4 days, and those go out to a lab. But what we're finding is that most people, when they send stuff to the lab, it takes an extra long time because there's so many tests being given. So here is an opportunity for Webtalk, another opportunity for Webtalk to help fix the world, to help the world in what they need. Kind of like last night when we were talking about feeding the world, this is about getting the world back to normal, getting tourism going, helping people get back to the life that they really truly need to be in. So this is important. It is something that, people are saying, well, if I go in and get a test and I have to wait 10 days, 14 days, 20 days to get a result, by the time I go back to get my results, they say, well, you got to have another test because in those last 20 days, what has happened? So those tests are pointless. They're pointless tests right now because people aren't able to stay that long away from everyone and to wait for those results. So, the PCR tests are becoming obsolete. They are unnecessary. They don't fit the purpose. And the purpose is trying to figure out who has COVID and who doesn't. So it's kind of a waste of money if you go get a test, then you go back and they tell you have to get another test. But if you could go and get a test for basically the same amount, the same price, and then learn within 20 minutes, you could go back to work within the day or so. You can go back home within the day or so. You don't have to stay in the hospital if you're feeling sick and you find out that it's not COVID. Well, you wouldn't have to sit in the hospital waiting and waiting for a result. So these tests are very important. These tests are going to help solve a lot of issues. Doctors are very, very tired. They test, they send stuff to the lab. Now they got to wait, and people are calling them every day. What's my result? What's my result? You have to wait for your result. It's tough on everybody, the people that are taking the test and the people that are giving the test. So this is going to solve a lot of issues, and a lot of things are being fixed because of these tests. So, Tim, do you have anything to say as you're walking around?
Yeah, I was just gonna go get some water, and I do have something to say that I just emailed the individual, the hotel manager, with our YouTube live video.
Okay.
And sharing with him, if you have a couple minutes in between his meetings, as he's shared he has a busy week, is just listen to this right now, Claude, and we'll see you at 10 o'clock this morning, high time.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Think about, not just hospitals, but, many different entities within your country. People that work in hotels, the people work in tourist areas, people that are working at airports, at borders, at things like that. These are all places that if they started using these 20-minute tests, it's going to speed things up. It's going to make it easier for tourism to start going again. Instead of having to quarantine people when they come into a country for 14 days, you could quarantine them for maybe 5 days. Give them 2 tests, one on the first day, one in like 4 days, and then you're going to know. That's the thing is everybody says, well, you have to quarantine for 14 days. The only reason that you're quarantined for 14 days is because you're still waiting for the results. So that's why people are having to go to countries and sit around in hotels and just sit there and wait. Well, that's just not how this is gonna change that. This is gonna fix that problem. So people that are involved in tourism, if you work at a hotel in your country and you clearly can tell that there's hardly anybody at that hotel because they're not letting people come around, they're not letting people do things, tourists are not being able to come in, you need to start talking to these people. You need to start talking to your bosses, hospitals, sporting facilities. If you are a part of someone who works at a sports facility where there is no fans allowed, this is an opportunity to change that, to fix that. Major corporations, major warehouses, things like that, everywhere that people are going and having to work with large amounts of people, and they want to know if there's any issues or not. This is the place to be. This is what you need to know right now, is these tests are available. Now, some people will say, well, we have tests and they're only like $5 or $10. Well, guess what? When you go and check out the accuracy of those tests, it might be 60% accurate. Well, 60% accurate is not very good at all. 99 plus, that's good. That's what we have. some of these tests, they may be cheaper, but they are not as good and they're not working correctly. Some of these tests might be cheaper, but you still got to take them to the lab and pay for lab fees. A lot of people don't understand that you have to pay for lab fees. So that's another fee. You have to pay for doctor's fees. Many different things to do that that is going to add more to the price than just the $5 for some low-level kit. So yeah, so as you're listening to this, Claude and anybody else, start thinking about who you work for. Have you been out of a job for months and months and months because they don't have a way to make sure that everybody's going to be safe at your place of business? Talk to your bosses. Start talking to your bosses. Start talking to the people around you. Start talking to medical people. If you know doctors, they probably don't even know about that these tests are available yet because it's that new. So you need to talk to people.
That really is the situation. That really is the fact. When when we are talking about these next level tests, antigen, people do not understand. They can be CEOs, they can be business owners, medical professionals. They don't understand. They only know PCR and lab, and PCR are very expensive. And then they know about the antibody, which are being created in all countries pretty much, and they're inaccurate. Their accuracy is 60%, 70%. So all of a sudden now you have an antigen test that's 99%. And there's two parts to it. We're not going to get into the technical part, the doctor part. There's two parts of it. One is a little bit lower, and the other one is 100%. So it balances to about 99%, which is very beautiful to hear. And what does the antigen do? It tells us if you have it. That's the great thing about this, and that's what Teacher Andy. This is what's going to be fun about talking with Claude. As we get to hear as a hotel owner, a manager on an island who wants to open up and get tourists back, to be able to hear what he's been a part of the past 3, 4, 5 months as everything is shut down. What has he heard? What is Thailand trying to do? What are your people trying to do as an idea? And hear what he has to say, because imagine having a leader in the hotel industry on a major island sharing out to his colleagues, hey, you know what, guys? We have something that costs this much money. I know that we've heard this much for antibodies. We've heard PCR that are this much, and it takes this long. Well, you know what, guys? We have an opportunity to actually know who has it, and then we can open up. We can get people back instead of waiting months more for governments and their plans of what they're trying to, create. It's now up to both worlds, the government sector and the private. And the private sector, they understand about if something closes down, how are they going to get funds to put into something to open it back up? Because if they know, if they don't do this, they're done. They're done. So this is really going to be an interesting discussion with Claude. And I know he's responsive, because this is something else I want to share. And it really just between me and you is I liked his positive response back.
Yep.
And it was based on an article that I wrote or that I read about his hotel. And then to be able to share about you, asking me about Thailand. And you know perfectly well that we've been talking to people in countries for 6, 7, 8 months.
Yep.
And seeing what they're going through. This is not about the news. So your little social dilemma, little Netflix documentary that everybody's up in the, oh God, this is horrible. You guys don't understand that the radio was an implementation of control. And then you put in a TV, and there's another generation or 2 or 3. And now all of a sudden, it's smartphone time. And you think humanity is in some type of lost black hole. You don't understand that there are human beings creating right now based on situations and our facts. Our facts. No one else's. It's by listening to the people in the countries. And to Claude, I want to say thank you for the response back. I want to say thank you for the time that you're going to give us in an hour and a half privately here in this Zoom channel with Teacher Andy. And we know that we can open up Thailand and bring the tourists back with these antigen tests that will tell on the spot. There's nothing difficult other than having a medical professional, a nurse, someone administer, 20 minutes, go on your way. This is our plan for you, 4 to 5 days over here. And then we're going to let you open up with others because we can expand this testing to other areas and really just begin a whole bigger picture. Because like Teacher Andy had shared, these PCRs, if you really think about it, what was this about? It was a beginning. It was humanity creating, trying their best to get a solution to what was happening. And people, you're not alone. You don't know what's happening. It's okay. There are individuals listening to each other, and that's the key in this 21st century. You might think it's all smartphones with people and algorithms and computers underwater and computers in mountains. F that. That has nothing to do with anything. Because there are human beings that understand who they are. They understand what they've created. And Claude, to be able to reach out to someone like me, who read an article about his hotel and award-winning for cleanliness, and then also COVID-ready, and cannot have tourists because they have to wait for others outside of them. Now he has an opportunity to create with him and with certain individuals that understand that this test, it's expensive because you're only listening to the price of the antigen test. You are not thinking about what a PCR test is and the time needed to understand the results and where people are and what it does to shut other things down. I understand you're not picturing all that. Let a few of us take care of that. That's why we're here right now, presenting this to anyone that's listening in Webtalk or in YouTube. Because Claude, when we do have the talk with you and we listen to you, and I know you're going to allow us to share, especially Teacher Andy, is we're going to open up another world for you with Webtalk. And you know what's going to happen? You're going to have 100% occupancy throughout the year for years to come because Webtalkers love to travel. See, if you listen to Social Dilemma, You are part of a solution right now. It is called Webtalk. Why do you think I took that short little trailer from RJ, the CEO of Webtalk, and put hashtag checkmate? Webtalk has already won. You think that I am quacking my mouth and Teacher Andy is talking some junk based on conspiracy? We, both of us together, are part of inspiring our worlds. Inspiring. Inspiracy. You want to flip over your distrust for everything? So be it. Understand that these antigen tests and this equity company that proactively went towards a solution when the world didn't understand, they're a company like any other. They went through the beautiful process, the correct process of FDA approval. They are an FDA approved company with their medical devices. It's very simple. And all of you listening have an opportunity to reach out to Teacher Andy and let's talk privately about your situation. And instead of borrowing from government for stimulus checks, let's take some of that money and put it towards a solution. There are a select few from over 65 plus countries, and let me say that there are about 5 countries working beautifully behind the scenes and patiently to communicate with individuals that are trying their best to understand the opportunity that Teacher Andy was given through a very, very close friend of his from MB Solutions. And that's where Teacher Andy, I know that Clay Sampson's extremely busy right now, as we both know. It'll be very important that he creates time over the next couple of weeks to come in with us and kind of do this Webtalk live stream, YouTube live stream as a continuation of who he is as he introduces himself, you know, as a great connector to you of the good life, you know, of what he showed you. And so I want to stop there because you know that we can talk about this all day long like we do privately, and we discuss solutions. You know that I stand with you. I support everything that you want and are creating. And with the money situation, I want Teacher Andy and everybody based on their passion to help and support themselves and humanity to make as much money as possible. And we are in the 21st century, the technology age, that this is possible. And it's possible with a networking platform that switches everything. It turns everything upside down, from the social dilemma documentary that I watched last night for an hour and a half and smiled. And knowing that we are solving that. And if you listen to the creators of what they did many years ago, every idea is always based on making humanity and the world better. It's always that way. Any human being. We all need to rise up together and truly begin an adventure of listening to each other. And that is what's happening with 65 plus countries. There's a reason why it started with one country called Thailand, and it branched to China, and then Myanmar, and then America with Teacher Andy and another Americans many, many years ago. And then it branched to another country and another country. And they communicated, they created. We only say 65 countries is because we have humanity in, because we listened, and now they're creating with others that have been connected through us. It might not be us. We just set the stage of the great connection. And we are in the correct space right now. A Webtalk Live, YouTube Live, and a wonderful opportunity to meet a manager of a hotel and actually listen to a major island of Thailand, and to be part of bringing them back is extremely exciting. So I will stop there and we start with the antigen because, yeah.
I think what is important about what you're talking about is the space that we're in. I already see that there's, 10 views, most of them are in incognito, Webtalk Pro, people checking this out. And I would say to this, if you're watching this, if you looked at this, if you saw this, whether you agree or disagree with the situation, whether you believe one thing or another, I would at least ask you to share on your newsfeed this video so that people that do understand, that do have real issues that are dealing with this in their country can see this, and that people pass this on and use this platform to do something good. That is what this platform has been made for, is to help people, become better human beings. And I think that we are showing that. We've been showing that for years, that we aren't doing things to just benefit a few. We are doing things to benefit as many people as possible, and to create, a group within Webtalk that is growing and learning every day and being educated every day. And this is just a way to help them even more. So whether you agree or disagree with what's going on in the world, whether you think it's conspiracy or not, there are people dealing with this. There is an issue. It needs to be fixed. Here is a way to do that. So I just ask the people that are viewing this, that are watching this, that do have the access to multiple followers and things like that. Please share this. Please get this out to as many people as possible so that we can kind of start helping people. Because right now this test is the best. It is the best thing that can be used. So if you say, well, I don't think that testing does this or testing does that, well, probably because the testing that's being used you're exactly right. It isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. It is low level. It is low accuracy. It is everything that is not good. This company is FDA approved. These are not some, tests that just came off the street or were made at a college. These are tested and proven to be FDA approved tests. So they have that approval. They have all the documentation. This is necessary. So with that being said, I think we're good for this one. If people have questions, just like I've been saying before, comment in the post, message, whatever, so that we can set up some private meetings and talk to people and explain to them what we have and what they can do to help their countries. I mean, even just real quickly with the idea of the hotel. If you think of a hotel that's been empty for 5 months now, 6 months, how many ever months? Well, if you told people that now they could come, they could quarantine for 4 or 5 days, but in that quarantine, they could be interacting within the hotel itself because they know that everybody that's tested is fine. I mean, what's that going to do? People are going to start coming again, and you're going to start making money again, which is ultimately what people need in their countries so that they don't have to shut down. Airlines don't need to go bankrupt. All these things, so the test isn't the only thing that we're looking at. You're looking at how is it going to help all these communities in all these countries. So with that being said, Tim, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Just
but
really quick, I
Yeah.
will add to that. The hotel part is, hotels have been shut down for a long time, and go to your partners. Some of the hotels are using Agoda and Expedia, and right now they're cutting jobs by the thousands in these online kind of reservation style places where they get 15% commission from the hotel and they get rooms. Go to these partners and talk to them and say, you know what? We've run into some individuals that have a solution. Would you like to partner with us and begin to get people to travel again? We do need some money because we lost ourselves in the hotel, and we know Expedia and Agoda, you're losing. Can we come together with the CEOs and the different regional areas? And this is, DJ Andy, this is exciting actually to actually go into this direction, because this is what we need to do. We need to save the businesses. And we can't be thinking about, governments, because governments have their own agendas. They have their ways of wanting their best to make as much money as possible through whatever they do. And then we have the other side, the people that are creating and supporting humanity, with businesses. And, so that's what I'll add there with Agoda and Expedia.
Yep. All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, if you guys have any thoughts, ideas, whatever, please put those in the post. Please share this if you can. Try to get this out to as many people as possible. We will be talking about this more. Like I said last night, we've been not doing as many lives in Webtalk because I don't know if you can see my eyes, but we've been doing a lot of extra time, working on these things and getting ready, getting these things ready to bring to Webtalk. So message if you want, comment if you want, and let's see what we can do. All right, Tim. I'm gonna end it, and we'll talk to you a little bit later.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.